Hey everyone, welcome to another explainer. We love taking these dense, complex frameworks and just making them crystal clear. Today, we're unpacking something that is honestly becoming absolutely critical. We're looking at the rigorous record-keeping demands of the new global standard for AI, which is ISO/IEC 42001-2023. If you've been following the massive, rapid rise of artificial intelligence, you already know that governance is the huge hurdle right now. So we're going to explore exactly how organizations have to maintain records, specifically records that are easily accessible for audits, so they can actually prove their systems are safe, compliant, and trustworthy. Let's kick things off with a pretty massive question. It's one that regulators, developers, and really whole organizations are wrestling with right this second. Think about it. If an AI makes a life-altering decision, say misdiagnosing a patient or causing a self-driving car accident, how do we actually prove the algorithm acted fairly? Or honestly, how do we even find out what went wrong in the first place? This isn't just some abstract philosophical debate anymore. Under these new frameworks, it is a strict, hard-coded, structural requirement. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the accountability problem, then move into traceability and accessibility, followed by documenting AI risk assessments. After that, we'll look at the power of audit trails, management reviews, and nonconformities. And finally, wrap up with the future of trustworthy AI. All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the accountability problem. Now, I absolutely love this analogy. I want you to think of the AI's decision-making process as an airplane flight. When everything goes smoothly, hey, that's great. But when something goes wrong, or even if an auditor just comes knocking at your door, your records are the black box. They are what investigators crack open to see exactly what happened leading up to that critical decision. You just can't get away with saying, oh, well, the algorithm did it. No way. You need the hard, verifiable data to show exactly why and how.
Which brings us to Section 2, Traceability and Accessibility. So, ISO IEC 4201 defines what I like to call the twin pillars of proper record keeping. On one side, we have traceability. This is all about tracking the history, the changes, and the interactions, using things like version control and metadata. On the flip side, we have accessibility. This means authorized personnel can retrieve those records efficiently and securely when they actually need them. The crucial difference here? Traceability is about leaving a perfect, unbroken trail of breadcrumbs. Accessibility ensures that an auditor can actually find and read those breadcrumbs without digging through some disorganized digital basement.
Let's zoom in on traceability for a second. The standard defines it as capturing exactly who accessed a record, when they did it, and what actions were performed. Think about it practically. If a credit scoring algorithm suddenly starts, denying loans based on biased data, proper traceability allows us to track that model's history right back to the specific update and even the exact data engineer who implemented it. It stops the AI from being this faceless scapegoat and anchors the whole thing to real human accountability. Okay, moving on to Section 3, documenting AI risk assessments.
It's brilliant how the framework forces us to categorize AI risks for an audit. Think about technical risks. If you identify algorithmic bias or model drift, you have to pair that with a specific mitigation strategy, like continuous retraining or algorithmic fairness audits. For operational risks like system failures or cyber threats, you're going to need disaster recovery plans and intrusion detection. And for legal and ethical risks, such as privacy breaches or opaque logic, your strategy might involve data anonymization or explainable AI. The ISO standard demands that you don't just point out a risk, you must pair it directly with a documented, tangible mitigation strategy.
And to actually prove you're managing these risks when that auditor shows up, you have to maintain a very specific list of accessible documents. We're talking about risk matrices that evaluate the likelihood and severity of a failure. You need comprehensive risk logs that detail the exact impacts, clear mitigation action plans with actual concrete timelines, residual risk declarations for those pesky risks you just can't eliminate entirely, and of course, incident logs for root cause analysis. Listen, if you don't have these documents neatly organized, then in the eyes of an ISO auditor, your risk management simply doesn't exist.
All right, Section 4, the power of audit trails. Let's get into it.
So along the chronological life cycle of an AI decision, an audit trail has to capture a verifiable log at every single point in time. It starts at the input phase with data intake and preprocessing, moves through the processing phase for algorithmic decision-making, hits the output phase where the AI generates its recommendation, and finally reaches the oversight phase, which involves a human-in-the-loop review. The audit trail is there to show an investigator exactly how the model arrived at its output, step by painstaking step.
So, what actually makes a bulletproof audit trail? Well, you're going to need chronological logs of all system interactions. You need rigorous version control, meaning if you update a model, you have to safely store the old version for comparison. You absolutely need documented ownership and accountability, plus metadata detailing creation and modification dates, and crucially, secure tamper-proof record storage. Without these exact elements, your AI system is essentially an opaque black box, making it completely impossible to investigate failures or ensure transparency.
Let's pivot to Section 5, Management Reviews and Nonconformities.
Okay, so what happens when an auditor or an internal team actually spots a failure? Let's say a diagnostic AI misinterprets some medical scans. They have to follow and carefully document these exact steps. Step 1, identify the nonconformity. Step 2, conduct a root cause analysis. Find out exactly why the training data or the algorithm failed. Step 3, implement a corrective action plan. And step 4, establish preventive actions. Every single phase of fixing that broken AI system has to generate a traceable, easily accessible record.
Now, here's the kicker. Leadership cannot outsource this responsibility. Top management can't just sit back and be passive. They have to regularly review specific KPIs, key performance indicators. Things like security and privacy incidents, internal and external audit results, regulatory compliance status, and the effectiveness of corrective actions. They must continually ensure that the AI management system remains effective and completely aligned with the organization's goals. In fact, the standard itself makes this incredibly clear. It literally states that senior management must regularly review the performance of the system to ensure it remains suitable, adequate, and effective. So if an auditor asks to see proof that the C-suite is actively overseeing AI risks, you better have the meeting minutes and strategic plans ready to prove it. Which brings us to our final section, the future of trustworthy AI. Let's talk about the big picture here, the true return on investment. Meticulous records, proper traceability, and robust audit trails, they aren't just bureaucratic red tape. They are what ensures ethical fairness by forcing developers to document and actually test for biases. They build public and stakeholder trust because you can literally prove your system works safely. They facilitate legal and regulatory compliance, which keeps organizations protected. They drive continuous system improvement, and they mitigate catastrophic operational failures. These records are the essential safety nets that transform AI from a massive, unpredictable liability into a truly trustworthy asset. So I'll leave you with this final thought to really reflect on regarding your own organization's practices. Is your AI a black box, or is it an open book? Because in this age of rapid AI deployment, having robust documentation, accessible audit trails, and true transparency, that is your absolute greatest protection. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep asking those hard questions about the technology shaping our world.